So right now, I want to introduce to you again, Mr. Emmanuel Olowosulu is a great supporter of the work we do at S2P Africa. He's going to be speaking about the final submission template.
So thank you, everyone. My work here today is to briefly highlight the submission process, right? So I believe we have all, the contestants have all been hard at work at, developing their projects and solutions. And this literally is the icing on the cake, where you put together all you've done and then, you bring it up to us. So I'd like to just give an overview here of this final submission. So in the course of a week, we'll be sharing with the accepted contestants the submission template. So you're supposed to use this as a guide to know what's expected of you, to know the various parts of the submission that are required, and that is going to give you an edge. And also, we'll be sharing a portal where you can actually, upload your submission. All right, so just stay put, watch out for our newsletter, and these links and the template will be shared in due time. First, I'm just going to give an overview of the submission parts. Basically, the template is made up of 6 parts, 5 if you discount the video. So the first thing here is the summary video. Don't worry about keeping all these things. All these are well highlighted in the submission template that will be shared. But this is just to let you know what to expect. So would be needing a summary video, max about 5 minutes, briefly outlining what you do or what you did, or if you're part of a team, what your team came up with. We'll also be expecting the video to highlight the challenges, the core challenges you faced, what you're trying to achieve, and your target audience. Basically you're selling yourself in that. Just think of it as see if you have a company and you're trying to create an advert for that company. So that's the spirit we are expecting to see. And then the second part, once again, is the introduction. In this particular area, it's very similar to the application template. We have a brief biodata and then, certification as usual. Just stating that, everyone is adhering to the requirements, which, by the way, I'll be highlighting the requirements again, just for clarity. The third part is the theory, design, development, and execution, which basically just means this is an engineering design competition. So we expect that, whatever solution you're trying to develop, whatever solution you're pushing forward, there is an underlying, or there are one or more underlying engineering theories, right? It's not just, art design, for instance. What we want is, to know the driving principles behind what you do. Yes, we agree with solving a problem, but we would also want to know, the theory behind it all. And then the fourth part of the template is the, say special skills and prizes, and also an outline of the competition categories, right? So if you remember when applying for the competition, you have to specify one or more categories that your solution was best suited for, right? So we'd also want you to, so sometimes you might have a change of heart, maybe in the process of working through your solution, you find out that some categories are better suited, or remember earlier we added 2 new categories and you want to push for those ones. So you have the opportunity to specify the final categories you want to enter for. Fifth part of this submission process is the goals and limitations, which basically means what are your projections, right, for the solution. So you have a team, you've come up with a solution, say what's like your basically your plan, right? How you plan to implement your solutions and move forward. And then the issues you faced in building your solution, maybe the technology is not there yet, or you needed, say, some expensive piece of equipment you couldn't come across. But if you had that, you would have developed, say, a better prototype, or you would have been able to move your solution to, say, a trial phase. And then last but not least, we have the business model and funding. So in this area, I would be expecting to see, say, your plan, right? Your plan. Earlier, one of the speakers brought out a SWOT diagram, right? These are standard tools in business analysis, where you basically say, this is what we have for strengths. Say, for instance, you want to share or you want to distribute electricity wirelessly. I mean, that's a good business model. So what are the strengths to this particular approach? You have to do your market research, your weaknesses. Do you have competitors in this space? What are you bringing that makes you unique? And then more importantly, your funding, because whatever it is you plan to do, you need to have funds. Either you plan to use, you plan for your customers to pay from day one, or you plan to get funding from, say, some third-party body or a donor, right? So I would like to see an outline of your business model and funding. Okay, so I'm going to be going a little bit more in depth into some of the areas that we think you might need clarification. Again, starting from the introduction, this is basically just what you've done before when applying, with the exception of the summary video, right? Very important, the first thing on the list. We want a video basically outlining your progress, your journey, the challenges you faced. Just sell yourself in the 5-minute video you have, and then the rest are, standard stuff, biodata and the solution summary. But importantly, you also remember to sign the certification in this part. This certifies that the person working and every other person is within the guidelines, which I'm going to. So yeah, we have the submission categories, same as before, with the addition of 2 new categories, with innovation and creativity. Of course, we understand that some projects might have to be in 1 or more categories. Feel free to highlight all relevant categories, right, on your submission. Yes, so as part of the submission, we want to know, how far, right, you are able to get your solution. This is just to make sure that, we have an accurate sense of where you are. So if you're able to move to the end and you already even have paying customers using your product, wow, that's great. If you're able to build your prototype and then you just have like a proof of concept, right? That's what a prototype is. So, this using the example of wireless electricity distribution I gave earlier. So let's say, you have a machine that can transmit electricity within the same room, right? Of course, that's not useful on a larger scale, but it shows that your concept can work. So that's what we make prototype. So if you're at that stage, you let us know. If you are still at the concept, which means that you have an idea, you've done your research, you've looked at journals, academic journals, you've looked at papers that handle this specific topic that you're looking for, and you've gone ahead, to show how this concept can be brought to fruition, how this concept can be moved from, an idea to an actual working device or prototype, right? So you highlight that, right? So this just let us know where exactly you are in your development stage. So the next part of the submission template I'd like to focus on is, the special skills and prizes, right? So special skills are, so you have the Autodesk Prize, you have the Aspire Prize for Innovation, and you have the Creative Genius Prize, right? So you just specify, for instance, if your use of Autodesk, if you think your use of Autodesk products in your solution qualifies you for the Autodesk Prize, right? You let us know and show how, or you explain how, this your use of Autodesk products, qualifies you for this prize. Same for the Aspire for Innovation Prize and the Creative Genius Prize, right? There's going to be more details about these prizes in the submission template we'll be sharing later. And then, so we come to the goals and limitations. So what we have here, we know that in coming up with your solution and developing your submissions, you're going to have challenges, right? So we want to see the goals you had. I'm sure you had, for instance, the running example I've been using, which is wireless transmission of electricity. So let's say your goal was to be able to transmit electricity, say, from one end of the street to the other end. And that's your goal, right? But in the course of a solution, you're only able to do that within a room, So, and then you give your limitations. Okay, did you require more power for the transmitter? What issues did you have? Did you require components that you could not get locally, and you need to import? So we just want to see how you engaged your solution and the blocks you had along the way. So we also look for solutions that have transformational impact. We want your solutions to actually impact lives. The wider or the greater the scale of impact, the better for your project, right? So we'll be looking at that. And then I mentioned earlier, let's say you could actually order the parts, going back to my earlier example, but you needed maybe a lot of money to get the part you needed to scale up your solution. Let us know, okay, we had this issue, we need to get this component, but the price was prohibitive, right? And we had to make do with this. But if we had gotten this, would have met our goal of, transmitting to for an entire street. So, just let us know what you had. And also would like to see your projections, say, in the next 5 years, where do you see the solution or the company you have, getting to? What do you plan to achieve? What are your metrics, right? Your key metrics for success, after about 5 years. So once your projections. Okay, another area of the, submission template that we want to focus on here is your business model and funding. In as much as we are really interested in the underlying theoretical principles of your solution, we would also like to see how you plan to scale it up. For instance, if you have, I keep going back to this example, let's say you are able to provide electricity wirelessly to everyone on your streets. If no one is paying you for that service, it's only a matter of time before you fold up your company, right? So we want to see how you plan, to get revenue, and then you sustain your business financially. So what kind of customers are you looking to serve? Would they be happy? Would they be willing and able to pay for your service? Or are you going to supply to a set of people and then get funding? Let's say you're targeting rural electrification, for instance. You want to provide electricity to people, vulnerable people in need, and then have, say, an NGO fund your efforts. We want to see what you think about how you're going to get funds for financial sustainability, right? So actually, the goal in the long run is to make sure that the revenue streams you receive as a result of deploying your solution, should cover your expenses. So in basic terms, your profit should be greater than your loss. Loss being the cost of running your solution or deploying it, total cost of ownership, and revenue being everything you get, from donors or from your service users. And, that's just the general direction. Okay, so one more thing about funding and business model before I go on. We also want to see I would like to know where your major source of funding would be. So it doesn't have to be that you sell your product to the consumers. Like I mentioned earlier, you could meet NGOs, you could meet other people for funding. You could have, say, a subscription model. For instance, we all use Google Search, for instance, and we don't pay. But in return, Google puts 2 or 3 results that people use to advertise to us, right? So that's the model. You use the Google service, you don't pay, but in return, people pay to have their ads shown to you. So that's one way of generating revenue. It doesn't have to come from your primary customers. So that's just by the way. Okay. Again, I'm going to highlight the requirements for the competition. As has been stated earlier, we want to make sure you're residents of West Africa. continuously for 4 years, and as at the end or as the closing date of the call, you must also be a student or a recent graduate of a university in West Africa. And again, the age range is between 18 and 25. So these requirements apply to every member of your team. You have to remember that every member of your team, not just the team lead, is bound by these requirements. So thank you. We're excited to see, receive your project submissions and see, what you've done, how you've taken different ideas and created solutions with it. And we're really looking forward to what you create. Thank you.